We continue here on Westmoreland on the Gridiron. I'm Sean Meyers, now joined by the head coach of the Kiski Area Cavaliers. 4-0 start for Kiski Area. It's head coach Sam Albert. And coach, I know you have to be very happy with the 4 wins so far. What have you seen as the biggest reason why your team's off to this great start?
You know what? We got a good group of seniors, and it sure makes it easy when you have leadership with your senior group. They're holding each other accountable and the team accountable. So that's very important nowadays. You know, if the coach says it, means one thing, but if you got a teammate that's saying it too, that's so important. So I've been impressed with my senior leadership.
A few of the games early in the season, games that came down to the wire, the victory against Greater Latrobe, in which you came back from a fourth quarter deficit, pulling away from Franklin Regional at the end. It was a close one against Butler Area as well. Have you seen something that has led your team to show the ability to close out games late?
We always tell our kids, whoever hits the hardest the longest wins the game. So going into the fourth quarter, we just keep telling them, just keep doing what you're doing, keep hitting, keep hustling, and so far it's worked out for us.
Another thing that has worked out for you is the running game. Even when you lost maybe your top option, Brock Wilkins is a terrific player. But when he went out with injury, Chad C.J. Hepler stepped up in his place, and he's done a terrific job as well. What does that say about your offense as a whole to be able to kind of fill a void and not really have a drop-off?
Yeah, listen, he has been a pleasant surprise. He hasn't played since 8th grade, and we talked him into coming out this year, so we really didn't know what to expect. And, man, he has really stepped it up and has really helped us, like you said, to let Brock now come back. And now you have both of them.
I know you said trying to get a player like Hepler to come out takes a little bit of recruiting. And I know your son Aaron is very active at Kiski Area. He's obviously the baseball coach as well. How much work does it take, especially when you're relatively new at a program, to get the buy-in and to get the numbers up and to generate interest within the school?
It's hard. It really is, because there's so much other stuff for kids to do nowadays. And, you know, it used to be, it was a manly thing to play football. I don't know if that's the same anymore. Everybody's equal, but in CJ's case, it was easier than most because he's my cousin. So I told him he was no longer invited to the family reunion if he didn't play.
Talking to Sam Albert, the head coach for the Kiski Area Cavaliers. It seemed like, at least going into the season, you might utilize 2 different quarterbacks on a regular basis, Lebron Smith and Logan Johnson, but thus far, Logan seems to have separated himself a little bit. What has stood out about his play?
Yeah, he's tremendous. He's exciting every time he touches the ball. He ad-libs like backyard football. You never know where he's going, what he's going to do. But so far, he's been just great for us. And LeBron offers stuff, too, for us. Like, we're going to keep using him. He has some things that he does extremely well. So we hope to continue to use them both.
Well, everything that we've talked about so far revolves around the skill position guys on offense. But really, I think one of the strong points of this team is the play up front. And you have a stud in Brandon Lawhorn Moore. Obviously a Division I talent. What stands out about his play?
You know, he's the leader of that group. Like you said, you know, most times you win with what you have up front. And they have done a tremendous job. They work well together. They're holding each other accountable. And there's not enough good to say about him. Like, he's a great student. He's a great person. He's a great kid. Teachers love him. Everybody loves him. And he has done a tremendous job for us this year.
With the exception of the victory against Greater Latrobe, which was higher scoring, your defense has really come up big, holding opponents to 14 or fewer points in 3 of the wins. What are the strengths of that side of the football?
Our linebackers are incredible. Brock and Stick, that's Dunmeyer, Matt Hildy. They do a great job in there. 2 of them are 4-year starters. So they read the guards and the running backs extremely well. And you know, to have a good defense, it's like a machine. Every part has to work, and you have to rely on each other. And that's where that accountability comes in. And I'm real proud of that. They rely on each other, they believe in each other, and that's so important defensively.
You mentioned the nickname Stick. I believe nicknames are kind of a common thing for you, right? How did that sort of start?
Yeah, you know, I say in the neighborhood I grew up with, everybody had a nickname. And I don't know, and I've had kids who said, Coach, how come I can't have a nickname? I've had parents who ask me, how come my son doesn't have a nickname? And I laugh. I don't just give them out. It has to be something that, makes me call them that. But it's funny because I've had reporters say to me, no, you're right tackle. And I'll say, yeah, like Haas. Yeah, I don't know his real name. And they all laugh. But yeah, I think growing up, every one of my friends had a nickname.
When we look at this season, 4-0 stands out, but I think that the quality of victory against a team like Connellsville really also catches my attention, because a year ago you beat them, but it was a wild 1-point game. Now you win this one really in a dominant fashion. Does that exemplify the growth from 2020 to 2021 with your group?
Yeah, you hope so. Like, I'd be truthful. I've done this for a long time. I don't even count last year. When you take away a camp where 2-a-days where you actually, build your team, and then you take away all the exhibition games and the scrimmage, it's tough to prepare anybody. I don't know if the pros could do that, especially high school kids. So last year was kind of a blank for me. I don't gauge much off of it, but I do think our kids stayed together and played every game extremely hard, which carried over for this year.
And it's carried over to a 4-0 record, and I believe that's the first time in about 20 years that the Cavaliers have won their first 4 games. What have you seen in terms of excitement around the program, particularly in the community?
It was amazing. Our second game against Franklin Regional, there were people that didn't get in the stadium until almost halftime. They were lined the whole way around the school to get in, and at one time I turned around, and of course it helped that Franklin Regional brought a lot. Their student section was big. So I turned around, and I don't know if there was a seat available on either side of the stadium. And, as a player, man, that's what you hope for, that big crowd where, So the community in our student section has been wonderful.
You have your final non-conference game upcoming this week, and it will be a pretty stiff test as you host West Allegheny. That's an Indians team that has won a lot of championships and a lot of games over the years. What stands out about the Indians?
You know what? They have great skilled kids. The quarterback, 6'4", throws a tremendous ball. They have a running back, 2 wideouts. They're just a good overall team. And like you said, the tradition they build off of. They've always been aggressive. They're a very physical team. This year, they have some unbelievable skill.
And after that contest, you jump into Northeast Conference play. North Hills, Fox Chapel, Shaler Area, Pine Richland, and Penn Hills are the opponents that await. What are some of the goals once you begin the conference slate?
Wow, with that schedule you just said, most of the time, there's that one game where you go, okay, we can be easy that game. With our schedule, there is no let-up. All those schools you mentioned are all very, very good, very well coached. Our goal, of course, is to one game at a time. We tell our kids every week, hey, listen, let's just go 1-0. Because each week is different. You try to get them win that week, and then you worry about the next one.
And lastly, I know you've had many different coaching stops over the years, but this 2021 version of Kiski Area, what stands out most to you?
I think the closeness of everybody, the coaching staff and the team, that's so important. People all say to me, how are you still doing this with all the parents and all the, and listen, so I walked in the other day and a kid who maybe played 2 downs in the years I've been here at Kiski said to me, hey, Coach, man, it's great seeing you. I just stopped by. You're like a father to me, and I want to thank you for him. And I'm like, okay, they asked me why I coach. That's why I coach. That bond you make with the kids is so important. And especially nowadays, I really think it's very important. So I think the camaraderie with the team and the coaches is special this year.
Well, Sam, thank you so much for taking the time. We're very excited about the great start and hope that the Cavaliers continue it the rest of the way.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
That's Sam Albert, the head coach of the Kiski Area Cavaliers.